Viewer discretion advised. This discussion is not for the weak. You have been forewarned. Listen up and listen good. But first, make sure, yes, you have some homework. Make sure you are subscribed to our Lynn's Warriors channel, because when warriors tell us they are unsubscribed, I wonder why. So please subscribe, follow us, become a member, hit the little bell. You will be informed of videos before everyone else. But let's get into it. I'm thinking today, if you can't handle the heat, I'm using the old adage, get out of the kitchen. Child abuse, child exploitation, any kind of exploitation is unacceptable, is enough. I've been hearing that word, reparations, slavery a lot. Well, I am here to say that we have more slavery in the United States than any other time in history. This is a serious subject matter, not one to be kind of just thrown around. But did you hear what I just said? 2024, last quarter, going into 2025, more slavery today in the United States than any other time in history. And you might be saying, what is she talking about? Human trafficking, human slavery, sex, labor, forced servitude, debt bondage, child soldiers. Think about it, child soldiers. Now you might say, well, child soldiers certainly are not in the United States. Well, I'm here to say, with the recent stories breaking in sanctuary cities, such as my beautiful home state and home city of New York City, where these illegal children are in the hotels that have come across our open borders, they are terrorizing. And there's been some media about it in the last few days, terrorizing the city. They are 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years old. I thought people came here and kids and families to go to school, but that's another story. They are robbing people, specifically around the Times Square area where you have a lot of tourists flooding in. I mean, that is supposed to be the center of the universe, Times Square, right? I'm sure all of you have heard that. And unbeknownst to a lot of tourists, they're always, because I see this on a daily basis, they are amazed to come to New York City and see these skyscrapers. And they're looking up in the air and they're not paying attention. And kids on scooters will drive by, grab their bags, purses, wallets, iPhones, and take off. Then we'll have a group of them, I guess I'll call it a mob, running into stores. They're kids, by the way, and robbing, shoplifting, organized crime rings. Now, these are kind of child soldiers, and I'll tell you why. Because the basis, according to law enforcement here in New York, is the Tren de Aragua, the violent, vicious crime gang out of Venezuela. So they figured, well, if we get the kids and train them to do our dirty work, they won't go to jail, they won't face anything, and they'll be able to run rampant around New York City. And that's what's happening. So in my mind, that, to me, is a child soldier being trained. They're also slashing people. They have no respect for any law enforcement. And this is what's going on, but not for long. So we have a lot of serious subject matters we have to discuss. So when people are talking about all the time the salacious things that have to do with any of this abuse, this exploitation, I got to tell you, the hair on my head goes up or goes out in my case. What I mean by that is the case of Diddy, the importance of it is being missed by most. I'll tell you why this is so important. This case that every day is escalating. We have new lawsuits, federal lawsuits. We've got weapons, we've got drugs, we've got exploitation, all kinds of things going on. The importance is because all victims of these abuses, not only of alleged victims of Diddy's, are waiting. They're telling me, we work with victims, we work with survivors, are telling me that this could be the case where they are vindicated. They want justice. Justice because the justice system alone and people, this is what society does, always is blaming the victim. I wish we could take all of that and switch it onto blaming Diddy and all these other creeps and criminals for what they do to vulnerable people, right? Why can't we? Because we always say Innocent until proven guilty. And I was thinking today, and I'm not a lawyer, but I was thinking, why can't we say that about victims? Innocent until, there's what they're telling us we have to believe a victim, believe a survivor of any of these assaults situations. I'm very careful on some of the words I'm choosing here. I realize that. I could go more hard-hitting, but I want to keep everything, we're a family show. I want to point that out. Algorithms, everybody, algorithms. Why can't we take that kind of thing and believe the victim, believe the survivor until proven otherwise? I don't understand calling victims liars and all kinds of a litany of other names, right? The importance of this Diddy case is far-reaching. We don't even touch upon minors. We hear things. We don't touch upon going all the way back Tupac Shakur. 1996 is almost 30 years ago. Follow the threads here. We're not going back and searching what was the situation with Diddy and Diageo, the global liquor distributor. I'm just saying there are so many important issues to face up, and the music business as a whole. It seems like this center of predation, and then that branches out, right, to entertainment, to Hollywood. Remember, Diddy's parties it was the ticket to be had. And I'm sitting here in New York, and I always was reading online and when, periodicals, as I'll say, whether it was the New York Post or it was New York Times, TV shows even. This was the party to be at, the white party in the Hamptons, right? All these different things. And I'm going back to the 90s, and I can remember this. People's photographs, Hollywood celebs, fast forward to now, influencers because of the internet. These are the important issues to dig deeper. Yeah, it's easy and it's fun to reach for that low-hanging fruit and talk about things like, let me think, I don't know, baby oil, stuff like that. But you know what? And that is important because all of this is important. But let us always keep our focus, because at the Warriors, this is something I strive for, and I want you to strive for and to understand as we raise awareness, as we educate, as we intervene to prevent new victims, what this is really all about. This Dirty Diddy case is so complicit. How many others were involved? He could never pull all of this off on his own. Why aren't we hearing anything about his right-hand woman, Christina Coram? Perhaps she's working with the feds. Perhaps she's been giving evidence. We don't know anything. And so I don't like, other than talking about what we know, truth and facts, and always putting the focus on victims, because we need to believe them until we prove otherwise. To just throw out things, people's names, or even Justin Bieber, we don't know anything. So let us, since this is a federal case and there's multiple charges, right? Let us see how this how it plays out. We know November 4th, which is really just around the corner, a couple of weeks, oral arguments will begin. We know May 5th is beginning, set for trial that is estimated to last about a month. Let's see if we even get there. But in the meantime, I am here as your chief warrior to remind you facts, truths. Let's try to dissect, analyze, think about all the tentacles to this case. But let's not just throw out salacious things that really take away from that very vulnerable girl or boy, woman or man, who has been a victim, who has never come forward and never will because of embarrassment, because of trauma, because they want to put it behind them. Keep your ears and eyes open. Hug and kiss your children or your grandchildren. Let us work together. The pendulum will swing back in favor, always, of truth. Our hashtag is Community Creates Change at the Warriors. I want you to honor that. Come along, join me. Let us stick together. Let us again focus on victims and survivors and let them have justice. And if this P. Diddy case breaks it forth, we will see other cases coming forth and other people. Because remember, there's power in numbers. And that is why you're seeing a lot of these alleged Diddy victims coming forward now, because they were too scared. And that is the common story we hear with victims. They are scared to come forward. They are threatened. They don't have means to hire lawyers, or they go to lawyers who won't believe them, or they go to law enforcement who won't believe them. But now let this case set the precedent that it will open the doors, and enough people of power will no longer get away with abusing our most vulnerable. And with our most vulnerable, I want to remind you the demand is for children. Enough. It must stop. It will stop, because not on our Warriors' watch. Community creates change. Each and every day, go out and be a warrior.